All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have Lupa on the account. And we also have something very special that kind of only works just for her. We've got Wildfire Mark, her weapon, and of course, the crazy pose that she does when she's holding it. Yeah, I don't think there's a reason for this, but yeah, thank you, Kuro Games. So with that, why don't we go ahead, get her leveled up, get some initial testing going, and see whether or not she's worth the astrite, whether or not she's a must pull. Because unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you view it, Lupa is somebody that really depends on the other characters that you have on your account. And if you do have the right ones, well, boy, oh boy, she can turn out to have a lot of potential. So without further ado, let's go ahead. Let's get right on into it. But before we begin, if you're looking to pick up Lupa or her weapon by spending on some lunite, you'd probably like to save some cash. LD Shop is a fantastic way of doing that, and I'll show you exactly why. LDshop.gg gives you access to huge discounts on pretty much anything you can buy in a ton of games. But let's click on Wuwa for now. The monthly pass? Usually it's $5 dues, but on LD Shop, it'll be much less. What a deal. To claim one of these discounts, just select the item you're looking for and click Top Up to submit your payment. You'll need your Kuro-linked account email, password, and username. This might seem a bit off, but remember that LD Shop already works with sensitive account information with their emulator, LD Player, so you can trust them for their services. They also have excellent reviews on Trustpilot. If you created an account with Gmail or Facebook, use the directions in the top-up menu to link your account to an email. After finalizing your payment info, wait a couple of minutes and your items will be on your account. New users can get a 15% discount and an additional 5% using my sponsored link, and first-time top-up bonuses are available as well. That means you can get some big discounts. Spending $80 or more will net you a VIP membership, which can get you a free 30-day lunite subscription. So try LD Shop today. Okay. I am on the edge. I am on the edge of bankruptcy. Now, we got level up her weapon, and this is going to be potentially a huge mistake. So, ladies and gentlemen, one thing you might have noticed is that I actually don't have that much weapon experience. So, you might see me going into a couple of shops because I don't think what I have right now is going to take me all the way. I don't know. Maybe I'm underestimating how much I have. Okay, we're at 70. Oh, this is getting a little bit dicey. Okay, that's like almost, okay, we'll just, oh dear. Come on, 2-star weapons. There we go. All right, there we go. That's the final bit, and we are maxed out on Wildfire Mark. Now, we got her weapon. We got her maxed out. Let's do the final last bit over here. That's going to be the skill priority. So when it comes to Lupa's abilities or, you know, forte priorities, you're going to want her liberation really high, and you're also going to want her intro skill and forte circuit high. Those are pretty much going to be like the most important moves for her kit. 7, 7, 9, 10, 10. I think that's fine. Now let's take a look at what her Sonata set is going to be looking like. And boy, oh boy, do I have quite the set ready for her. So we're going to be trying her out on about a Flaming Clawprint set. We've got some pretty good investment overall on the pieces. A nice double crit attack over here. A nice double crit with ER over here. We will be testing her out with less ER. Because I do have, yeah, we've got this one over here that has way more attack, a little bit less crit, but does not have ER. So we'll be testing out both of those just to see if there's like a significant ER necessity in the rotation. Let's actually try out the more damaging one right now. And then our one costs, or the rest of the echoes over here, they're looking pretty offensively focused. They're looking pretty good. Like this one over here, it's got that nice liberation damage bonus. And then this one over here has it as well, and some pretty good crit. So she's looking good. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the team that we're going to be putting her on. This is how we're typically going to go. Lupa's going to start off, then we're going to go to Brant, then we're going to go to Changli, and then Changli's going to go to Lupa. And so this is going to be the first team that we're going to try out. And what you'll notice is that in the TOA, this team is going to be pretty good. It's going to be pretty strong. This team over here essentially is going to really benefit a lot from doing a couple of things. You either just play the teams relatively normally and go through their outro skill order, or you can do some crazy QuickSwap stuff. Unfortunately, though, the QuickSwap rotation is likely going to be incredibly difficult to approach at first glance. And so we won't be doing the super complex stuff for now. We might do a couple of experiments with it for fun, but we will be going over more of Lupa's simplistic teams first. This is, of course, gonna be your best in slot lineup. You got triple fusion, all three limited characters, and they all have outro skills that benefit each other. Basic attack and fusion goes into Brant. Fusion and Resonant Skill goes into Changli, and then Fusion and Liberation goes back into Lupa. And that's kind of like the order. And you have Changli's outro skill buff ready for when Lupa does her big enhanced intro move. Now, let's go ahead. We've already seen what my Lupa looks like, right? 2.2k attack, 72% crit, 284 crit damage. Pretty good. We got Brant over here. He's gonna have 285 ER, 3.2k attack, almost 90% crit. Don't ask me how I got this. I definitely did not sell my soul to the devil for his echo rolls. He is S0, by the way. We're gonna have Changli over here at a nice 120, 70.1, 276. That will be the investment that the teams are looking like over here. Now, let's see what the team actually does in some combat. To start off this team's rotation, you're always gonna want to be on Lupa first. You'll just throw your Resonant Skill, hit, and then go into your Liberation. Then you'll basic attack, do her enhanced air attack, and then use her enhanced heavy attack, and then you'll use her enhanced skill, and then have a full Forte circuit. You can see that her rotation doesn't do a crazy amount of damage. But what it does do is give those buffs really fast. And I actually messed up that Changli rotation over there. You're supposed to actually just go ahead, do a plunge. But it doesn't matter too much, because Changli's rotation when played like that is relatively fast. And you'll be able to just loop back into Lupa. And then do a rotation all over again. And you can see over here, it's a pretty fast, seamless one. You get off all of Lupa's like coordinated attacks, right? Oh, and we missed our anchor. We missed our anchor, unfortunately. Now, this is the correct Changli rotation. And you see how everything just lines up. Yeah, so us missing our Brant anchor unfortunately messed up our rotation, and Lupa didn't get her enhanced intro. This is a bit of a rough boss to go against because Brant can just straight up miss his anchor. And that kind of delayed my entire rotation, and Lupa's pack hunt essentially expired before I was able to get the enhanced intro. That's something that you really gotta watch out for in this lineup, because Lupa's pack hunt, which goes ahead and gives her all of her big buffs, you know, the 6% fusion damage increase, 20% fusion damage if you have 3 fusion resonators to the team. This only lasts for 35 seconds. And so that means if you take too long on Brant and Changli to get your rotations off, or you have some unfortunate stuff happen, right? Like your concerto generation delayed because you miss an attack, well, this is probably going to expire by the time you get back onto Lupa, which is what happened in that second rotation over there, and then that slows everything else down, because then you might not have enough ER for Lupa's Liberation on her second rotation. It can be a lot of tricky stuff. So the key wording over here is don't miss your attacks on your team. So let's try it out in a different lineup where we're not really going to be able to miss our attacks. Let's just reset this one and try it out against the middle floor, because these enemies aren't nearly as agile as the Mephis that we just faced before. So let's test it out on this side.
Ooh, now is the second call. With me,
all right.
The veil of glory await.
Is this floor like the fusion counter? What's going on?
Epic shot.
All right, surely, right? They're not gonna do any weird shit now.
Same actor, different role. Focus, will you?
Together we vanish. My blade burns.
These guys are kind of nasty. As you can see over there, that's an example of what can happen when you are, well, extending your rotation because enemies are being a little bit annoying. Maybe this is also a bad floor to try it against as well, right? Because I'm just trying to make sure that I'm hitting both of these mobs, and then I'm getting, like, parried at the same time. All right. Boom. Okay. And we got it. There we go. And that's what it looks like when we're doing it a little bit better. And you can see this team over here handles the fallacy of no return quite well. Handles it quite well. Yep. Feels pretty good, to be honest. That's what that team is looking like over there. And one of the big reasons why a triple fusion team works so well with Lupa is, of course, right, we know all about her applying that fusion resistance ignore. You get a 20% damage bonus against boss monsters when you have Lupa on the team as well. And the last piece is actually her weapon. And this one over here actually will give the entire team a 24% fusion damage bonus when the effect is triggered by dealing heavy attack damage. And Lupa does do quite a bit of heavy attack damage. And so the last thing for us to take a look at over here in regards to this team is, of course, going to be how she performs when she's using, like, something else instead. And so we're gonna put on Gion's weapon instead because it has the same exact stat profile, but it doesn't have those same damage boosting effects. And we'll just see what the overall performance looks like. And we'll go back to the Thundering Mephis one, and we'll just pray that Brant doesn't miss his anchor this time. Yeah, so we'll see how she does on Gion's weapon instead.
Together we vanish. Different role. Mind's eye.
And I can tell that the damage is a bit lower on my Changli, but it's not really noticeable. When you guys think about it, 24% fusion damage might seem like a lot, but it's not like a ball-busting, game-ending amount. Like, your damage will vary more depending on your critical stats. And you can see over here, we actually cleared faster this time because Brant didn't miss his anchor. Like, it's actually a faster clear than the prior one. Because Brant didn't miss his anchor, which is, you know, naturally a big chunk of damage. But that's really it. As you can see, her weapon is cool, but 24% fusion damage is nice. It's not that much. It's less than the main stat of a 3 cost. So that's just something to think about if you're trying to use Lupa without her weapon. And this is the thing, right? You could just as easily just use Age of Harvest. I don't have a crit damage 4 cost. That's why I'm not using it. Age of Harvest actually does and gives bigger damage bonuses than Verdant Summit, because you would just use 2 skills with Lupa if that's the case, and then this will actually buff her coordinated attack damage too. All this does is buff the dog shit damage on her heavy attacks. And you can see over here, mid-air attack, fire strike, 22.72 plus 22.72. Yeah, the scaling on this ability is 50% damage. It's 50% of her attack. And then this one, well, it's only like 200. Her resident skill, on the other hand, well, it's 370 total motion value. So that's what I mean by like Verdant Summit actually not being that good. She doesn't deal that much heavy attack damage. And her fusion, well, her with and without it, the difference in team DPS doesn't actually seem to be that high at all. So I would say she doesn't seem very Sig reliant to me. Her biggest buff is probably her 15% fusion ignore with 3 fusion resonators on the team. And this 15% res ignore, you get it without her Sig. So her strongest buff is here. This is literally her strongest buff. That's something to keep in mind when it comes to overall team damage. On 118 ER, as you saw in that triple fusion team, we had our liberation very consistently. So 120 is probably the sweet spot to have it up without like, you know, throwing in a basic attack here and there. And, you know, if you're above 120, you'll be just fine. But that's really like where it seems to be for these two characters. 120 max on their ER generation. Now, we got to try a bit of a different team. And this team is only going to be able to be used if you do have an Encore ready to go. And so let's go ahead and see what it looks like when an Encore has a decent amount of investment. I think I'm just going to put my Changli set on my Encore. This is literally a Genshin could never moment right here. Nice artifact loadouts, bums. Anyways, 77.9, 270.2, almost 2k attack, and Encore's going to be somewhat maxed out, but not really. We'll see how this team does. And there we go.
Nice try. Listen carefully.
So much fun.
Hey, man.
Here we go again.
You know what? I actually griefed that rotation. I shouldn't have swapped out a Brant. Yeah, just don't use Encore's Echo skill in this team. It's not worth it. Only use it if you're going to be pairing like a Burrito or Shorekeeper with them. Yeah, it's not worth it. Otherwise, Brant's going to lose Lupa's outro skill buff.
More passion. Perfect finale. Just aim actor. Different role.
Bullies attack. You're in for it.
And then we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4 skill. Okay, I kind of messed that up there, but, you know, it's fine. With Encore, you might need a little bit more ER than what I have.
Epic shot.
And you're going to realize that Lupa's damage on that second rotation is missing quite a bit
Aim actor.
without having Changli available.
Bullies attack. No one picks on Encore's friends. Leave.
And you can see over here, right, with our somewhat maxed out Encore. Oh dear, yeah, we're missing quite a bit of ER in this team. I think Changli generates a lot more energy than Encore, which is why we're spending a little bit of extra time working. It seems like it's okay. The Encore definitely has a way higher ceiling to go. She has a way, way higher ceiling to go. And I would say to improve the team, maybe try to have Lupa on like 130 ER. It definitely works. But yeah, this Encore, she's only got like 883 on the important stuff. And I don't know how to play the character that well. So we messed up like a couple of our cancels there. That's going to be the last demonstration over here with the triple fusion teams. Another team that you can use is actually with Chixia. I recommend just taking a look at my guide for Chixia gameplay because I am not raising this character just to show off one team because I absolutely fucking despise using her. Now, we got to test out some traditional support teams. And this one is going to be Shorekeeper plus Lupa plus Brant. And Brant's going to be the kind of like main DPS over here. And Shorekeeper, naturally, right, is going to be a bit more of the support. And this team is going to be a little bit interesting because you'll get like 2 enhanced intros across it.
Iron graft you knew. Clothing.
Here we go.
Epic shot. Climax.
And this is what it looks like over here.
It's gonna splash. Listen carefully.
Oh, from the heart.
And as you can see, this team rotates kind of fast. Literally Shorekeeper liberation off cooldown. And however, I do think you are gonna need a good bit of ER for this rotation to work. Because my Lupa right now, she don't have enough in the tank with 118.
Epic shot.
Yeah, if you're running with the Shorekeeper, you might need more ER. Maybe 130, to be honest.
Ordained. Low astral modulation.
Yeah, you're seeing over here, right? We're running into some pretty severe ER issues.
The fight is on! Die, evil!
At the helm. Let the flames rise.
So yeah, that's that team. It's still decent. It's still pretty good. But with Changli, the team is a fair bit better, and you need less ER because Changli's granting more energy to the team. Now, for the last sort of like supportish test, we're going to be putting Lupa with Encore.
Iron graft you knew. Applaud for me! The fight is on! This is so much fun! Together we power with me! Lunite attack!
And we can actually put in the Inferno Rider cancel into here.
Here comes Encore! Leave?
And that is probably a proper Encore rotation. Yeah, that's what a proper one looks like. And that's what it looks like with this relatively underbuilt Encore. Uh-oh, I messed up. You get the message. You get the message. Yeah, I don't play this character very often. I accidentally held down her attack. Yeah, I would say if you're using Lupa as a sub DPS and you're not playing her in triple DPS, right? Like, if you're not using her in triple DPS, I think she needs 130 ER. Yeah, we're running a little bit short in like all of these comps. We're running short in all of these comps where Shorekeeper is in, and we need to like double cast her skill to have her liberation ready. So I think that's kind of like the issue over here. 130 ER if she's going to be used with the support. And that would make this echo set, right, that I have over here, that would give a lot of value to this one, where I lose the attack, but I gain 10% ER. And it might just be better to run like 129, 130 on her anyways. Now it's time for what I am going to consider probably Lupa's worst team. And this one, ladies and gentlemen, it sucks. It's not good. We're just going to be genuine about this team. This team is not that good. So there's a lot of people that are talking about this team, and the only reason why they're talking about this team is because they don't have Brant. They just desperately think that Changli's outro skill buff is going to make this team good. Guys, Lupa doesn't actually deal that much damage. This is like buffing a sub DPS's damage. This is like buffing a Jeja's damage. So let's just go ahead and talk about it a little bit, because I do not think you should actually be playing this team unless you have like multiple sequence nodes or something.
modulation.
Here we go.
Together we go. Think fast. Mind's eye. My blade be reduced.
And then we do a little bit of this.
The fight is on! Glory is upon us! Thank thou from the soul.
Guys, this damage sucks ass. It sucks ass.
Together we vanish. Mind's eye.
I think it's quite literally only playable if you have multiple dupes on the characters.
Be reduced.
It's really bad. Okay. Okay, clearly missing that did not help.
The fight is on!
But yes, you are essentially using guys, it is so bad.
Astral modulation. Together we vanish.
There is no universe where we're looking at this.
Mind's eye.
Guys, replacing Changli with Encore literally does more damage.
Who's the caged bird now? Take full.
And that Encore, guys, that Encore was half built. Or that Encore still had like 20 skill levels to go. Guys, that is probably Lupa's worst team. I do think that is her worst team. Yes, it will still clear. It's literally probably the worst team you can play with her. That people are gonna think is good. I can never recommend that team for her that uses 3 limited characters and then has worse damage than you using a standard character. A standard character will do better than Changli on this team because we're out here buffing Lupa's damage when Lupa's damage is not that high. Yes, it will still clear. It is still the worst team you can run with Lupa and Changli. And so, if you're looking, right, to just play a team, this will work. But if you're looking to get, like, good results, this team is not it. You are trying to make Lupa a DPS when she doesn't have the motion values or the uptime to be a DPS. You're free to do whatever you want. I'll also point and laugh at you if you're the same person trying to run this team and then complaining that it doesn't deal that much damage, or that Lupa is undertuned, or that Kuro messed up when they were balancing Lupa, because that's not what happened. You're just trying to put her into a role that she doesn't fit, and then you're complaining about why she doesn't fit it. Now, for a bit of a final review, it's time for us to play around with the QuickSwap team featuring these characters, and this one gets a little bit messy. I'll try to talk about what's happening, but I'll probably just focus on not shitting myself on my keyboard instead. So you're gonna, like, double skill over here, go over to Changli, then, like, Liberation on Brant for fun, and then, like, Liberation on Changli, and then follow up with this, right?
It's but a splash. It's but a splash.
Take 4.
And then, like, Liberation on Lupa. And then, like, get back on Brant, and then, like, throw down his anchor. And then Liberation again, so you can throw down another one. We're getting out 2 anchors in 1 outro skill. Buff duration, right?
Game active, different role.
Together we vanish.
And then we're gonna do a bit of a combo.
My blade will.
And then end it with the Lupa Liberation over here.
The fight is on! Please, together! How?
And yeah, you can probably do like some more advanced shit with this. This is just an example of how you can get it done.
In flame.
But yeah, that's just like my first iteration of like playing this team QuickSwap. It's like okay. I'm not really sure what I'm doing with the team. I just know that I'm trying to get off stuff like a double anchor, which we were able to do with that one. So the time on it was pretty decent. You can obviously like clearly optimize it further. I don't really know what I'm doing on the second rotation. That's worse than mine, and I wasn't even quick swapping. Send a video of yours or you're banned for a week. Unfortunate. That is going to be, in my opinion, pretty much every single team that's going to be usable for Lupa on release. The only ones I didn't show were the Chixia ones. And unfortunately, right, the only playable Chixia team at the moment is going to be this one. If you are not running these characters, don't play the Chixia team. If you run some weird shit like this, it will suck dick because Chixia kind of doesn't deal basic attack damage. And so half of your fusion buff is literally doing nothing. So do not run this team, run this team because Brant will buff Chixia's resonant skill damage and it'll actually be pretty decent. Lupa does have a free-to-play option with this team, like Verena, Lupa, Encore. It works fine. The only thing is that, is this going to be worth pulling for you if you already have this team that's literally free? And that's the question, right? You already have a free Sanhua who already heavily buffs Encore. Are you gonna pull somebody like Lupa? If you don't have Brant, Lupa essentially is Changli Supermax, but only for Encore. Lupa is worse than Sanhua for like a Camellia. So it's a Sanhua Supermax for one character. But if you have Brant, you essentially open up every other sort of fusion team comp in the game. If you only have Changli, any team you run with these two sucks. Or you're running like some weird shit like Encore in here, and then you're running no sustain. And so you're essentially playing like an actual triple DPS team. So I would say Lupa is way more tied to Brant than she is to Changli, because not having Changli is not an issue, because you run this team, it does just fine. You run this team, it does just fine. However, you run this team, and it's one of like the worst performing teams in the game. It's genuinely not good. It clears, but it's worse than pretty much every other team that these characters can play. So, unfortunately, I have to say, if you don't have Brant, this unit is kind of a bit of a lower value pull. If you do have Brant, then you have two free-to-play options that are really good in Encore and Chixia. And if you have, of course, Lupa, Brant, and Changli, then yes, this is one of the strongest teams in the game. We've tested out all the teams. We've seen all the times. We've seen all the potential clears. And so, yeah, that'll be that for this one. Is she a must pull? Absolutely not. Absolutely not to any degree is she a must pull. But does she add a lot of differentiation to your account and how you can play? Yes, but only if you have certain fusion characters. Otherwise, she's a Sanhua Supermax. That'll be that for this one, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know what you all think. Peace.